So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the booty. You see, the physical has no bearing on the elegance and grace of the spiritual and mental one that's inside you, that creates the only one of you that it takes millions to make. I'm talking black and light, not white, the substance of nothingness, a blank page of anger and rage, giving you the belief of death, not rest. Life is a cipher, a circle that never ends, passing by trends and fads of trends, only to come black again. Justice and freedom. None of that is possible without unity. The you and I self, transit of you, the inner scope of self-love and hate. Travel away from the lies on the surface to keep from the unjust or ingesting their truth of their perception. The gods and goddesses are in we trust. Everything you hear, smell, and see is creator he. Everything you feel, learn, and touch is creation she. Does that make us gods as we go on debating the source of the we and the he and she? I am that I am. The truth is something found in what others want you to see and believe. Live to be real. Reality. Believe. They say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's the color of one's skin and the beauty of one's eye. So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the booty. You see, the physical has no bearing on the elegance and grace of the spiritual and mental one that's inside you, that creates the only one of you that it takes millions to make. I'm talking black and light, not white, the substance of nothingness, a blank page of anger and rage, giving you the belief of death, not rest. Life is a cipher, a circle that never ends, passing by trends and fads of trends, only to come black again.
Test.
Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in here at
They say the duty is
atlwebradio.com. It's yours truly, the Cyber DJ, the CK. I am joined today live once again with my good brother, Mike Cypher.
What's happening? What's happening?
And we are in the building here with you for another week of Black Conscious Voices. Us coming together in order to spark the understanding of changing the narrative.
Definitely. And getting into that mode, brother, you know, there's so many things placed upon us as far as how we are perceiving ourselves and one another that is not even funny. This word, it's a word, possession, means to own or control or to have, and it's a thought-provoking word when it comes to our community, as far as I'm concerned, because a lot of our behaviors and actions and stuff is based on what we possess, what we have, what we own, what we don't have, what we don't own, what we're trying to get, why we trying to get what we're trying to get, just a lot of different things when it comes to that, and our ability to navigate through such a destructive and deadly system, you know, with the mindset of possessing. When you think about that word possessing, like I said, as far as the definition, we get a basic understanding of what it is and what it means. But when it comes to different aspects of it, say for religious aspects, you're talking about being possessed. Okay. And then you go back to the norm when you're talking about the things that we have as far as cars and houses, and even when it comes to one another, thinking or having the ideology of possessing each other. Where did this narrative of thought come from? Why do we have it so embedded in our systems to want to be the possessors, or the ones to possess, from an aspect of physical being or what have you? One thing came to mind when I started thinking about this was the question, what is it that black people possess? What is it that black people possess that every other being in our existence, in our galaxy, on our earth wants, that they are willing to kill us for? What is it that we possess, or what is it that black people possess that makes every other being on this earth want to control, to be like, to take as their own? What is it that black people possess that makes other beings want to possess us, control us, be us, and have us as something of theirs?
That is a very good question.
It is something as on the surface as this book and this phone on the table, but it's something that's also so deeply rooted in us that we can take it as far back as we want to. Now, the point for me bringing this question is how deep are we willing to dig within ourselves to really find the mentality of possession, not only from an aspect of personal and the things that we try to possess, but just as the question goes, why is it that we are under the construct of being possessed? Mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, any way that you can think of, black people on this earth, and I'm not just talking about in America, I'm talking about across the world, is in a state of possession. In a state of possession. And it makes me feel and think that, in a way, we act like, rape victims. We are, in a large degree, rape victims. Those who are ashamed of what's happened to them, to the point that we sweep it under the rug. We don't deal with it openly and honestly. We don't talk about it only in any other way only than to place ourselves in a role of being a victim. Where do we go? How do we control that narrative? How do we come out of this state of being possessed? Because truly, in my estimation, that's where we lie, in a state of possession. On any level you can think about. Religiously, what do you think these exorcism movies and things are really about when it comes to the state of being possessed? The demonic possessions of. Who's possessing us demonically? And what is the demon or the devils that possess us, when it comes to our state of mind? Because a lot of it is inner demons. A lot of it is that ability or lack thereof to shed those negatives and those negative connotations and those negative states of thought when it comes to responding or reacting demonically because of being possessed in a realm that has placed that demon in us. You understand what I'm trying to convey?
I do. I think on the surface that the question is it's so undeterminable because there is a lot of quality in what I know, which is the Black American, a lot of different qualities that will make another scenario outside of these type of people want to come up with some kind of form of embracing these individuals just because of the genuine spirit, uplifted spirit, a natural spirit. Now, when it comes to the question of what do we do with the flow of possession, the flow of I have to possess something in order for me to mean anything. Certain qualities, I believe, certain flows are needed possessions in our lives, energetically.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the physical stuff is just a matter of the next best thing. I think inside of greed, that's where, the feeling. But there are some good, genuine spirits that are looking to uplift other genuine spirits.
And that's an interesting take, brother, because the question that I posed basically comes from the aspect of just that, in some kind of way, spirituality, some kind of way, not just us as beings, but us as something other than beings. It's something in black people innately, naturally, that makes every other being on this planet want to possess what that is. And that's where that question is coming from. Why are we the most persecuted, not only in America, but on any land on this earth? Which also poses that if it's like that on this earth, then it would have to almost be to some degree like that in the universe. What is it that the universe has given us? What is it that our natural makeup, if you will, our natural existence and creation has given black people to make everything in its existence want to possess?
That's a hell of a question, Mike. That's a hell of a question, brother.
Because it gotta be something. It gotta be something for us to go through the things that we go through and not have no answers for.
Absolutely.
Or at least not know the answers for, because obviously, to me, if we are so targeted, it's like the saying goes, we make things that are so complicated. The simple things in life are so complicated when the complicated things are so simple to solve. And we ask ourselves this and we ask ourselves that, and we talk about the brothers and sisters that are being executed, and we talk about the systematic oppression, and we talk about this. But what we're not talking about is the cause of the effect. We're not questioning what the cause is, and it's systemic from an obvious worldwide stance. If you take a look at some of the things that happens to brothers and sisters in South America and how they live and how they're being treated in accordance to the same type of degradation that brothers in America are. Places like Africa, France is in a hell of a nasty place when it comes to dealing with black folks. Over there, same treatment pretty much, if not just as bad, worse. And on every continent on this earth, man, where we exist, which we know that's every continent, we are being persecuted. We are being killed.
Zero calories,
we are being
zero sugar,
slaughtered.
Nothing to weigh you down. Fresh sparkling water in seconds. So
slaughtered by large numbers. And one thing that
Sorry about that, brother.
no problem. The one thing that really gets me is that everybody's talking about the problem, but nobody's talking about the cause of the problem. Nobody's really dealing with it from a deeper realm of what is it that gives us or puts us in a situation.
Let me not
No,
to
go
cut you.
ahead. No, you good,
I
you good.
want to know from you what do you have any prime features that you feel would adapt or would attract that kind of energy toward us as a people?
Well, I mean, only thing, man, I can surmise, and like I said, that's why I posed the question, because hopefully, if there's any listeners out there that are in tune with what our plight is in doing what we do on this show every week, then they will call in and help
Absolutely.
educate
Absolutely.
and bring forth this wisdom and information, as well as, you know, ask questions themselves. But one thing that I mean, and I don't know, and basically is what I'm telling you. I don't know for the fact. And the
Right.
the trip of it is the question poses: does anybody really know the fact?
Right.
When you talk about the existence of life, creation. Now, one thing I will say that I will disseminate, or what I do come to some type of conclusion about, it would have to be natural to our existence or our makeup. And one thing that is melanin and matter, dark matter, melanin, melatonin. These are things that are innate to the black experience of creation, or just of makeup, in a strong way. You know, so much to the point where melanin is the number one cosmetic drug, the number one sold drug on the market for white folks. Okay. And it's so much in that in itself that makes me question, how deep is the rabbit hole? How deep is this? Because it's just more, it's more to it than just that. You know, that, okay, for instance, we got all these master teachers and all these scientists and all these educators and all these supposed to be quote unquote woke people, woke ones,
Right.
beings.
Right.
Okay. How come most of them, when they lecture and when they speak, they never really give pure answers or pure solutions to what we face? Now, it's a lot of different reasons that I surmised and well recognized and understood, over and understood on why. You know, because for one, it's fear. For two, putting something in the air that might change the course of what's to come. And things of that nature. Because am I supposed to know? Am I supposed to know my future? Am I supposed to know my future?
I mean, you're supposed to, in the perfect world, you're supposed to develop it and build it.
You're supposed to develop it and build it. Okay, so why is the development of our structure, of our future, is on the route and and with the struggle that it is? Something is an answer. I don't know if it's someone, but something is the effect of the cause that we are experiencing. That's science and mathematics. Okay, so if something is the cause, why isn't that information so readily available as Jesus? Why isn't that information so readily available as the 6 o'clock news?
Because it would probably change things a great deal.
Yeah.
On so many most important levels.
And I guess I asked this, brother, because obviously there's something to being black that makes us so persecuted. That's supposed to, and I can only guess.
That makes us so targeted.
Not and targeted, but what is the purpose? It got to be to some degree to galvanize and to build and to tighten the strength or strengthening of. Because if it's not to galvanize, it's like the saying goes, steel sharpens steel. Like the saying goes, if you come through the fire, then you will be a lot stronger, because once you solidify back into that metal, that being, then there is strength. Okay, so it's something that we have to be being prepared for. It's something that if we do the work, go through the struggle, and recognize what that preparation is for, when we come through it, it will help us become better. And I don't know what better is, whether it be to transcend to another level of being. I don't know if it's to reintroduce what has been taken from us, as far as galvanizing that oneness that we all hear of, as far as God is everything, or any of that type of structure of thought, and this is a difficult situation. This is a difficult conversation to have, because what we don't know is so much.
How important do you think how important do you think it is for us to know? And what type of things do you think that'll affect for us moving forward if we actually...
I think it's so important for us, if not to know, but to search for. Because in the search comes different aspects of thinking, and different aspects of contact and communication and knowledge of, realness, reality. And it's important to the aspect of, just like the saying goes, until you actually are prepared to go to war, then your enemy will subdue everything about you. We're not prepared for the war, and we haven't yet begun to fight, because we don't know what the fight is about.
I dig that. On my end, though, Mike, I'm gonna tell you, I'm starting to, and it's just because I'm seeing a lot of it move into the light, into the light. When it comes to production, when it comes to lifestyle, when it comes to entertainment now. I don't know, man. I just, the more I'm exposed, the more I'm feeling is, and it's so crazy, because a show that I watched kind of put it in perspective as to a possibility of how things could play out. But I think it was a real educated guess, and I think it was related in order for us all to kind of recognize something. And I think that quality might be the root quality of people with melanin in their skin possess. And I think for that quality to be able to be reciprocated throughout the world, I think that quality would definitely be high ranking on the level of change, because that's the one message that that transcended for me from all the stories of Jesus and so forth, and that's love.
Mm-hmm.
Love.
Mm-hmm.
Love.
Now, is that an emotion, or is that an act of being?
an act of being, a total act of being. My overall want, my overall need is to not only give love,
but to receive.
but to also receive it. That's what makes me flow. That's what makes me keep on keeping on.
So would it be suffice to say that love is really life's energy?
Love would definitely be a life energy.
Because it's really unexplainable.
That's right. That's right.
That word in itself is something that can't nobody that I've ever met or I've ever talked to explain truly.
But you know what it is when it hits you.
But you know what it is when it hits you.
You know what it is when it leaves you too,
Yep.
Jack.
How about that, bro? Real talk. Real talk. And that's why the question is posed. Okay, so with that being said, is that what blackness is? Is that what blackness possesses?
Well, I will say that is one of that's always been a key quality.
Is that another
in us as a whole? I think
another term for compassion that they keep putting on us.
Well,
black people are compassionate.
compassion is the reflection of love.
Mm-hmm.
It's the reflection of I love that, so I feel a
certain way about giving it some leeway,
right,
or giving it a chance,
right,
or bringing it into the fold. Because we have to find exactly why we're being sought out. And if it's because of that, if it's the love thing, then why don't we love ourselves, for one? Why is it such a hard thing to obtain?
I think we do love ourselves. I think our biggest dilemma is how to truthfully exhibit that, on a personal basis. I think if we more personally exhibited and reflected a love for our individual selves, then it will be more of a union thing, of a union that's able to be reciprocated from us all.
That's the dilemma. That's the problem. That's the question. Right. I mean, because if we do really truly possess this, then why are we still going through this shit?
Because everybody's not on the same page.
So that's where the dilemma comes for me, because if the love is truly there, if the blackness is truly there, if black is love, if black possesses love, or love possesses blackness, and this is what everybody seeks. Now, we was just listening to the intro, whatever, and in one of those summations, a statement was made. They talk about black, not white. White being a blank page of anger and rage. Why? I mean, what is that? What is that existence from? As far as why blackness is the love and this lack there of blackness, and we understand from the structure of existence, right? And I know this is probably getting really into something that is unexplainable until you go through the existence of being in the absence of and the being. You understand what I'm saying? So until, like, for myself, until I understand everything that made me up, genetically, molecularly, spiritually, all of it. Obviously, there's some lighter skinned blood in my existence.
Excellent, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so for me to understand that anger and that rage, for the other part of me that has the love, how can I truly possess the compassion to unify?
And see now again, you have several different levels that you just walked through.
Mm-hmm.
So the earthly level is where we're talking about our skin color, because here we represent a certain kind of a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Our spirit is attached to a certain kind of a frame.
Vibration of frame, no doubt.
So, but mind you, keep in mind, we're all, it's a drop of a spirit from our Creator inside of each and every one of us. White, black, green, yellow, blue, or brown.
Mm-hmm.
So, but while we're here and in this lifetime, we are representing an oppressed people, a slaved people, a degenerated people, a programmed people, a people that possesses a love, a people that possess a camaraderie, a compassion for one another that cannot be explained, not even by the individuals that are taking part in it.
Mm-hmm.
But
so why are we so separated?
But the separation, well, I'm gonna first speak to the question that you posted, which is the separation that you have to
Mm-hmm.
clarify, maybe on a minutely or daily,
Mm-hmm.
all throughout your cycle basis. That stepped into another dimension.
Mm-hmm.
And when that stepped into another dimension, that next dimension was your. That next dimension is where your spirit actually receives your soul, let's say, receives the body for this mission.
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
And so that could be like the karma of your life.
And everything that you're saying is reality from the aspect of from day one. Okay? For day one. And I'm speaking for me.
Right.
From day one, this was known. Okay? From day one, I knew where and what my energy was about from the things that I've been through. Okay? Direct correlation. At a certain point in time, from say 8 years old, when I went from an all-black school to an all-white school, it was immediately announced who I was seen as. Okay, automatically galvanized me to those, what you said, existence, which I equate to spirits, not spirits, but ancestry. Okay,
You start dealing with different souls.
I started dealing with the ancestral connection to everything that came before me to put me in the position that I was in to be, just like you said, the embodiment of, so I could transcend, if nothing else, thought on who you might think I am as opposed to whom and what I really am.
That's right.
Now, when you see me, I might not be as persecuted as you, but when you hear me, when you see me, when you feel my presence, until you relinquish your desire to be judgmental and you close your eyes and open your ears, or if nothing else, you use those senses to feel my vibration, then you recognize there's something different about this dude. He ain't that rape victim. He ain't that slave, that Uncle Tom, whatever, however you want to describe that one that was taken into possession as a light-skinned nigga, running to tell master everything that the field niggas was doing. I mean, it's a whole different vibration. You know, so the embodiment of the connection to what this is more powerful than what we are being taught.
I agree.
It's more powerful than.
But hold on. What we got to keep in mind is, and this is the discussion that I have on a regular basis now. Everybody can't handle that. Everybody's mind can't go into the different planes, and to be able to righteously understand who you are, what you are on this plane. You have to at least understand one or two planes above the plane that we live on, this earthly in this level, bro.
Well, I kind of
be able to be and be able to be okay with it.
Well, I think that we do possess it. I think we all possess it, except for those who are an extraction of the original, to some degree. Now, even some of the extracted ones have the ability because they fed off of the original for so long. The mother's milk, the creativity, the just the ingesting of energy. That's why I say travel away from the lies that you face on the surface and go deeper, because where you've come from eventually is where you'll end up going back to when it comes to foundation of being. So if existence is billions of millions and billions of years in one stint of creation, and in another stint of creations it's only 6,000, man, that's a vast difference in space and time.
Huge.
So
and that there again.
So to your point of some people don't have it, I think that some people suppress it or don't want to have the possession of it because of the fight that they have to put up with to instill and be an enlightened one to be able to handle the pain.
Most people don't.
Most people don't.
Most people don't. That's why so many people are, refusing to
embody.
To walk away from everything they know.
Yep.
And do something for real.
Yep.
Most people are so locked in.
Still possessed.
Still possessed. They so locked into, I got this, and I got my car, and I got my daughter, my son over there, and everything is fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then it never ends up fine.
It never ends up fine.
But at the end of the day is what the overall, what's really going on all the way around inside this picture is we're staying distracted. Exactly. We're distracting ourselves from true wonders.
Being.
True wonders. True
being. Wonders.
Yeah.
Exactly, brother. Yeah. Exactly. Being.
Yeah. Yeah. Existing. Truly existing.
Mm-hmm. So I just, wonder if we change motions, if we change the motion of the mind, not physical motion, motion of energy, motion of the mind. Can you really imagine the directions that we could go to, exploratorial, when it comes to what you see them trying? I mean, now this fool got a military for space. So I mean, and it truly gets mind jarring, okay, from the aspect of what are you protecting yourself from? One. For two, why haven't whatever it is that they've come to know as far as technological advancements and things that they are learning and have learned over the last 200 years, 300 years, the terrestrial connections, what is it that they are in tune and in touch with now to move them from A to Y? In the advancement of information and technology that they have been able to come to. The Germans with the DNA, the Asians with the computers and things of that nature, that we have been so overly scoped or passed over, so-called, okay, that they have us so trapped because of what they've experienced in these advancements or the knowledge on how to advance, that it's not funny. See, there's some connections there that we are not being privy to when it comes to our connection to other beings, is what I'm trying to convey. We dealing with surface shit. We not dealing with omnipotent shit. They dealing with shit. I mean, and I say that from the aspect, what would make this motherfucker make and excuse my English again, make a explore or a universal or a space military? I mean, military is defense, right? And to build something to defend yourself with means that you have contacted or connected or been in touch or have some type of fear developed from something you experienced.
That's deep.
To make you want to defend yourself. Now, going back to these master teachers and whatnot, and what they not saying, what they not teaching over the airways or whatnot, it's a connection. It's a connection there. So this surface shit that we dealing with, and this surface shit that we think that we are so woke about, ain't shit compared to what we bound to face if we don't plug in back to ourselves. If we don't plug into this possession or lack thereof, or being unpossessed, or having enough to try to repossess our own selves. Okay, so I'm like I said, man, I'm just really in that state of so much going on. It's so much deeper than a free lunch. It's so much deeper than what the aspect of thought that we are adhering to when it comes to having things, having possessions, having material conquest, being a conqueror of material things, because it really has nothing. Our existence has a lot more to do with the flow of energy than it does what we have. If it didn't, then why the things that we possess are not the things that these so-called elite sections of beings, sections of people with knowledge of what has control. And this shit sounds, and it is obscure as hell, but let's break it down and be realistic about the cause and the effect. You know, let's be realistic about it's a lot more to it than a fucking president. It's a lot more to it than somebody just poof magically all of a sudden came up with something that they know how to build a computer now. Or they know which minerals to use and to extract to build the perfect AI transition of being and thought from human to machine. Okay.
And be able to maintain the human mindset on machinery in order to transfer it back to another human.
And then in order to also, brother, be able to get to a point where they can subdue your mind and bring you into the machine by way of extracting your spirit, taking your spirituality away from you, where you can be controlled just like a machine. So now not only can you lose an arm, but they can give you a mechanical arm, as opposed to way back in the day where when you lost a limb, the what do they call it? You would grow your limb back. They used to call them, what is it? You know how back in the day the sisters used to pierce their ears and then they would get that big joint up under their ear.
Yeah, I'm here.
You get your finger cut real bad and then you start growing keloids. Keloids, dude. That's regeneration. Why don't we do that? No, why don't we see that no more?
Well, you got some people.
Some people who still got that power.
Or the energy is still utilizing, but they're not.
And clear.
Right.
Systems are still clear and clean enough to be able to do that. But I don't see that I have never seen that in any other possession of existence other than darker melanin beings.
Yeah, I've never seen any white people keloid before.
I've never seen any white people keloid before. I've never seen any light-skinned black people keloid before. Real. But I've seen plenty deeply, darkly melanated beings.
Absolutely.
Keloid. And you can see what it was building to be. So, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm on one of my joints.
No.
But I think these are the conclusions we need to be seeking answers to really galvanize change. We can't deal with this surface bullshit thinking that the deeper meaning of existence or the deeper meaning of changing what we facing every day is going to change. And I say that from the aspect of, really simply put, who are you? Who are you? And what is it that you possess that make everybody want to be you? Kill you, destroy you to the point of extinction so they can be you or take your place. Or, I mean, because it's obviously they love your dirty draws. If they didn't, then why would they be wearing cornrows? And why would they be speaking Ebonics? And why would they be doing the shit that every bit of fashion is ours? Every bit of innovation is ours. Everything that they do is to possess who we are, man.
It's been one of those things that has truthfully taken place so long that most people become numb to it.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. But I'm here. I dig exactly where you come from.
So, I mean, you know,
And it is a question that I think at this point definitely deserves more scrutinization.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how much time we spend on that prior to lighting a match and obtaining our true freedom, I don't know, but I know when we get to a place of, and I don't even want to say comfort, but a place of
Mm-hmm.
security. That's definitely one of those things that needs to be put down on the table and some experimentation be ran to find out exactly. Um,
Well, I would say in that term, in the thought, in what you pose as far as that goes, and it's in the terminology that you said, and that's love. When we get back to the point of love,
yeah.
you know, for
I
ourselves.
mean, that's the overall, that's the bigger picture because, like, and I say that to say because, like that's even the clearest message that came from most of people's spiritual books,
Mm-hmm.
whether they want to accept
Admit
it or not.
Exactly.
You know, and that's why it's so ratchet that all of these different religious factions would battle each other.
Exactly.
That's why it's always been such a, you know, and
Crazy
Yeah.
aspect of thought on why.
yeah,
Gotta be control. It gotta be possession.
gotta be. There you go. And there you go.
Because if it wasn't, what is the fight for?
Right.
Most wars, more wars, all of the wars have started over religion. Religion and power. Trying to make you be or believe something that I want you to, so you will follow me.
And in most instances, it's just enough distraction to take you off of whatever beaten path you may be embarked upon. That's going to be enlightening you in another way that you had already, you know, processed at one point in time or another.
Being you.
Being you.
Being you. Because that is such an unlimited source of power. When you can look at yourself and somebody asks you, well, why do you want to do it this way? And you can say, because I'm supposed to. Instead of, I don't know, I just have that feeling. Or, I'm not sure. When you know who you are and you know your energy's worth, and you move with the ancestral connection and your spirituality connection, that when it tells you to move a certain way, you move, then it comes clear what your purpose is. It comes clear that when somebody say, why? You can say, because that's my purpose.
Right.
I can't tell you how I know it's my purpose,
And
but I can tell you, but this is what I'm driven to do.
And that goes back to the discussion we were having before we went on the air. When it comes to me and my life,
Mm-hmm.
bro. I don't know how many people, you know, because I hate to, and then again, I really could care less.
Right.
But I say I hate to say what I'm about to say to too many people, because there are a lot of spokes on the wheel,
Right.
you know, that make everything keep on going,
Right.
make things a lot easier for everybody else, and to turn their mindsets. But again, at this point in life, you know, I really can get less than a rat's ass, bro. I'd rather see my people's eyes open than see them remain slaves.
Right.
You know, even
Because the easy way ain't the way, obviously.
You know, so, you know, with that, I've come to the conclusion that, we could spend time wasting time,
Mm-hmm.
or we could spend time
Producing time.
manifesting our life's destiny.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people like to take the flow. Well, what I'm doing right now is what I need to do in order to get closer. But we're in a frame of humanity where we really need to be doing all that we can from right now. There is no let me get
In a minute.
in a position, or let me further develop this or that. We need to be taking decisive steps in order to manifest a better us, loving ourselves like we were just speaking, like we love each other,
Mm-hmm.
loving ourselves like we love each other. Because once we can get that in our mindsets, our overall love for everyone else becomes abundantly clear. But
So, is it your take that we love outside more than we do on the inside?
I definitely say we love our other beings more than we love ourselves,
Yeah.
and that is the
That's kind of
reflection.
right.
That is the reflection of what's given based on
How
our
we
community,
move.
our society
Right.
at current.
Right. We won't spend money on our creations, but we'll go buy Prada and Gucci but where's Carl Kanai and where are them brothers? Where's Fubu? Where are them brothers at? I mean, they had they phase as far as from a fad aspect. And I'm saying that they not doing nothing still, but why are all the so-called black entertainers repping?
Confusion, nothing but confusion, brother. It's utter confusion, and again, the only way this is going to be cleared up is by some immediate action.
Yep.
Some definite immediate action. We had a few headlines this week, man, in the news, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about some of these headlines. One of the main ones, of course, and I want to get your thoughts and feelings on it, even though I don't want to waste a whole lot of black conscious voices times on our great president. I do want to get some insight because we are, a month from election time, and I want to talk about a little bit. So we're gonna talk about that a little more when we come back. But yeah, man, we got to take a stronger love for ourselves, man.
Most
individually.
definitely.
We gotta love ourselves individually more so, and I think that will show overall love. That will show us an overall love. If I love myself and I love my brother, then it'll help me to keep from hurting my brother, or hurt myself to hurt my brother.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, there's a few different ways of looking at that, or sister.
Mm-hmm.
But it's there, or my seed.
You're right, because it's all coexistence. It's all reciprocation of self-loathing.
Absolutely. Excuse me, man. It's been a long weekend here at ATL Web Radio. Saturday Night Heat off the hook yesterday. I want to give big shouts out to Bang 'em Bug and Triple O, man. They had a really hot, literally it's no pressure yesterday. And I'd be remiss if I didn't give some love to my boy Najee Maserati. He had a hot Friday Night Fever this week. Miss Shalette did her thing. Well, let's keep it popping on Thursday. So, man, it was just off the hook, man. I'm thanking God for another week of internet radio.
Yeah.
We open the door up on Sundays, Mike. But yeah, man, we're gonna be back at him in a second, man.
No doubt.
If you're checking us out live, you want to chime in, feel free to hit us up on the first instance of topics or first instance of talk, or what we're going to be talking about next. Feel free. It doesn't really make a difference. We can bounce back and forth. 449199363. Again, that's 919-9363. Hit us up, y'all.
Eye of the beholder, but it's the color of one's skin and the beauty of one's eye. So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the booty. You see, the physical has no bearing on the elegance and grace of the spiritual and mental one that's inside you, that creates the only one of you that it takes millions to make. I'm talking black and light, not white, the substance of nothingness, a blank page of anger and rage, giving you the belief of death, not rest. Life is a cipher, a circle that never ends, passing by trends and fads of trends, only to come black again. Justice and freedom. None of that is possible without unity. The you and I self, transit of you. The inner scope of self-love and hate. Travel away from the lies on the surface to keep from the unjust or ingesting their truth of their perception. The gods and goddesses are in we trust. Everything you hear, smell, and see is creator he. Everything you feel, learn, and touch is creation she. Does that make us gods as we go on debating the source of the we and the he and she? I am that I am. The truth is something found in what others want you to see and believe. Live to be real. Reality. Believe. They say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's the color of one's skin and the beauty of one's eye. So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the booty. You see, the physical has no bearing on the elegance and grace of the spiritual and mental one that's inside you, that creates the only one of you that it takes millions to make. I'm talking black and light, not white, the substance of nothingness, a blank page of anger and rage, giving you the belief of death, not rest. Life is a cipher, a circle that never ends, passing by trends and fads of trends, only to come black again. justice, and freedom. None of that is possible without unity. The you and I self, transit of you. The inner scope of self-love and hate. Travel away from the lies on the surface to keep from the unjust or ingesting their truth of their perception. The gods and goddesses are in we trust. Everything you hear, smell, and see is creator he. Everything you feel, learn, and touch is creation she. Does that make us gods as we go on debating the source of the we in the he and she? I am that I am. The truth is something found in what others want you to see and believe. Live to be real. Reality. Believe. They say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's the color of one's skin and the beauty of one's eye. So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the booty. You see, the physical has no bearing on the elegance and grace of the spiritual and mental one that's inside you, that creates the only one of you that it takes millions to make. I'm talking black and light, not white, the substance of nothingness, a blank page of anger and rage, giving you the belief of death, not rest. Life is a cipher, a circle that never ends, passing by trends and fads of trends, only to come black again. Justice and freedom. None of that is possible without unity. The you and I self, transit of you. The inner scope of self-love and hate. Travel away from the lies on the surface to keep from the unjust or ingesting their truth of their perception. The gods and goddesses are in we trust. Everything you hear, smell, and see is creator he. Everything you feel, learn, and touch is creation she. Does that make us gods as we go on debating the source of the we in the he and she? I am that I am. The truth is something found in what others want you to see and believe. Live to be real. Reality. Believe. They say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's the color of one's skin and the beauty of one's eye. So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the booty. You see, the physical has no bearing on the elegance and grace of the spiritual and mental one that's inside you, that creates the only one of you that it takes millions to make. I'm talking black and light, not white, the substance of nothingness, a blank page of anger and rage, giving you the belief of death, not rest. Life is a cipher, a circle that never ends, passing by trends and fads of trends, only to come black again. Justice and freedom. None of that is possible without unity. The you and I self, transit of you. The inner scope of self-love and hate. Travel away from the lies on the surface to keep from the unjust or ingesting their truth of their perception. The gods and goddesses are in we trust. Everything you hear, smell, and see is creator he. Everything you feel, learn, and touch is creation she. Does that make us gods as we go on debating the source of the we in the he and she? I am that I am. The truth is something found in what others want you to see and believe. Live to be real. Reality. Believe. They say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's the color of one's skin and the beauty of one's eye. So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the booty. You see, the physical has no bearing on the elegance and grace of the spiritual and mental one that's inside you, that creates the only one of you that it takes millions to make. I'm talking black and light, not white, the substance of nothingness, a blank page of anger and rage, giving you the belief of death, not rest. Life is a cipher, a circle that never ends, passing by trends and fads of trends, only to come black again. justice, and freedom. None of that is possible without unity. The you and I self, transit of you, the inner scope of self-love and hate. Travel away from the lies on the surface to keep from the unjust or ingesting their truth of their perception. The gods and goddesses are in we trust. Everything you hear, smell, and see is creator he. Everything you feel, learn, and touch is creation she. Does that make us gods as we go on debating the source of the we in the he and she? I am that I am. The truth is something found in what others want you to see and believe. Live to be real. Reality. Believe. They say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's the color of one's skin and the beauty of one's eye. So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the booty. You see, the physical has no bearing on the elegance and grace of the spiritual and mental one that's inside you, that creates the only one of you that it takes millions to make. I'm talking black and light, not white, the substance of nothingness, a blank page of anger and rage, giving you the belief of death, not rest. Life is a cipher, a circle that never ends, passing by trends and fads of trends, only to come black again. Justice and freedom. None of that is possible without unity. The you and I self, transit of you, the inner scope of self-love and hate. Travel away from the lies on the surface to keep from the unjust or ingesting their truth of their perception. The gods and goddesses are in we trust. Everything you hear, smell, and see is creator he. Everything you feel, learn, and touch is creation she. Does that make us gods as we go on debating the source of the we in the he and she? I am that I am. The truth is something found in what others want you to see and believe. Live to be real. Reality. Believe. They say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's the color of one's skin and the beauty of one's eye. So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the booty. You see, the physical has no bearing on the elegance and grace of the spiritual and mental one that's inside you, that creates the only one of you that it takes millions to make. I'm talking black and light, not white, the substance of nothingness, a blank page of anger and rage, giving you the belief of death, not rest. Life is a cipher, a circle that never ends, passing by trends and fads of trends, only to come black again.
At you, Black Conscious Voices. Sorry for the long intermission, but we are back at it. And I know I said I wanted to drop a couple of thoughts about our dear president. And I just really find it, at this point, a bit amusing that, you know, initially he came out well, first and foremost, it wasn't even a situation, you know, it didn't even exist. And then it went to a situation of he had went in and invested in some medicine that they were pushing on America for COVID-19, hydroxychloroquine, and you know it was heavily publicized. You know, and we take this all the time. You know, yada yada yada. Even other individuals, you know, famous people began to endorse the hydroxychloroquine. You know, this is saving people. This is this, that, and third. And you know, he's running around without a mask. Every engagement he was involved in, he's the only guy. You know, he'd be one of the only guys there without a mask. You know, and then all of a sudden, the week of the flop debate, now, you know, it's outpour. Also, just 30 days prior to our election, he's tested positive along with his wife for COVID and been sent to the Walter Reed Hospital because, you know, his claim is that it's affected him the way it would affect a person that, you know, is aged as opposed to the individual that, you know, and we spoke about it on last night's show. And I gave my opinion of it. You know, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it, Mike. Just the whole picture itself.
Well, bruh, I mean, one thing for me is this. It's another way of placing enough fear in us to make us go get this so-called vaccine or vaccination that's so inundated with so many different things that has no beneficial properties to, especially again back to our community, that we run in droves to get this vaccination. None of these vaccinations, to my understanding, have been FDA approved, and no matter whether they have been FDA approved or not, because I don't even trust the FDA. But they throwing the stuff out here as if these vaccinations and these cure-alls or whatnot is what's going to ultimately get rid of this COVID-19. When that's, in my estimation and understanding, that's the furthest thing from the truth. They set traps for us, and this is just another trap for us to think that this is the beginning of the end for a new beginning. We can go back to living the way that we were, and this and that, as if that was, the end all to be all. So for me, I think it's just another trap, man. I don't put nothing into it more than just that. These people don't never say what they mean, and they don't never mean what they say, especially when it comes to our community. Ain't nothing good out there for us in the systematic oppression. If it was, why are we looking at direct murders being not indicted? I mean, people who are conducting these open murders not being indicted. I don't care what uniform they wear or what they do or what their positions are. We got us in positions, attorney generals who are black people in these positions who's not indicting these people. So him, whatever his case may be, whatever the structure of the pretense of what he's trying to put on this idiot box, the television or whatnot, it's just another trap. It ain't nothing for us. It ain't nothing to help us. If that was the case, then the fool in Kentucky who was the attorney general would have been able to look at the obvious and indicted every cop that was in that sister's house who shot her 8 times. But you want to indict somebody for reckless endangerment of her neighbor? Shit, they didn't die. She did. They didn't get shot. She did. So the house was more important than the sister's life. I mean, fuck all of them. Excuse me, but that's what it is. Until we get to a point, where we look at the bigger picture, where we can step back and galvanize within our own rights and our own self what's really going on. Like we were speaking earlier, what you see on the surface has very little meaning to what's being done to you. And until we recognize what's really being done to us, until we recognize ourselves being a powerful creation, then we will forever be subdued in mystery. We will be forever put under this brainwashing mechanisms that they use on us to keep us confused, keep us battling one another, keep us, distraught and distracted. That's why this clown is in there in the first place. This is a cartoon character. Donald Duck. Quack, quack.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you're not going to vote for him?
No, man. And the crazy thing is that I wouldn't be voting at all. I've only voted in my lifetime maybe 3 times. And once was for the first Barack Obama election. And this only reason I will vote this time is because we had such a pivotal stint in our existence that it's not even funny. And really,
So you believe that Joe Biden would be the lesser devil? Because I mean, we just picking which devil.
right? Well, I don't believe in neither one of them. My thing as far as voting in this election is more on the local level.
Okay.
And I don't, and I wish I would have investigated more as far as the people in my area to be voted for and what they stand for, what they truly stand for. But at some point in time, until we have more of us in those elected local offices, then the more problems we're going to have, or the continuation of the problems we're going to have. The more of those that look like us that have anywhere close to the same belief systems that we have in those local official offices, then we may be in a little better position. So my thing is really more so the local election than it is the governmental election. I mean, no, neither one of them niggas appeal to my sense of doing something good for my people.
Right. Right.
Neither one of them.
That was my whole thing. It's like,
I don't care about neither one of them. Don't care about how they look at me. I don't care about how they look at people who look like me, people who love me for being me, or any of that. People I love for being themselves.
absolutely. So we had a few questions posed in the comments of the YouTube that we are live on currently. We're live at One Radio Vision, VIZION. So you can actually tap in and check us out live in the studio if you haven't already. But one of the things that was stated by Danette Johnson, the bigger question for her is how do we tap into or discover what that is in a world full of distractions? And I think she was speaking of the question that you posed earlier in the first segment, Mike, as to what it is that we possess that makes us want to be possessed.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, for me, tapping into that is a natural, innate thing. I mean, that's something that we really, for one thing that I believe that we must do is shut the TV off, shut the radio off, shut the internet off,
Shut the phones down.
shut the phones down. I mean, with all reasonable understanding. If for leisure, for entertainment, cut that shit off. For communication, narrow it to being and using it. Narrow it to being used for what it needs to be used for, and only that. And I say that from the aspect of, again, getting back to the energy. We all, especially in the diaspora of being black, being an original descendant of origination, of perfection, have powers that exist in us just because. So with that being said, we know that we've been in tune with ancestral connections. We know we've been in tune with one another from the aspect of thought. So practice those things. Entertain yourself with those things, those powers, and those generational passing downs of energy that we on a daily basis overlook as poof magic, or we on a daily basis look as something that's supernatural or not real or coincidence. Tap back into your spirit, tap back into your ancestry, tap back into you, get back within yourself, meditate, open up your realms of your different realms of being, thought and being. That's a start.
Absolutely.
It ain't gonna happen overnight because we wasn't deprogrammed, and really that's what we've been done. You can call it what you want to, either programmed or deprogrammed, but basically we not gonna get back to being what we was in a matter of seconds, minutes, hours, or days, when it took years, hundreds and hundreds of years to either program or deprogram us, depending on how you aspect of thought. So we have to take a step at a time. Have to take a second at a time, a minute at a time, so forth and so on, to get back to the instance and the effect of being what and whom we were created to be. So when we connect, when we plug in, just like when we plug the light into the socket in the wall, when we flip that switch, the light is going to be on regardless, unless the bulb is not working.
Right.
So we got to be able to flip that switch, plug back in, flip that switch. So when you say, "Hey, I need you," then you ain't got to pick up no phone because I already know.
Right. We got a telepathic order.
Exactly.
Because our mind's working in a proper function.
In a proper function.
Right.
Clarity.
Right.
You know.
We had Melissa Burns ask us, what steps do we take to tap into that power?
Well, one things we need to do, and this is just my opinion, and from the aspect of thought of some of the things that I've learned, and I'm not, nowhere near where I should or want or need to be, but I'm taking my steps. And my steps started with, again, clarity, clearing up those toxic things that are in my life, whether it be my upbringing, whether it be, negative things that has happened in my upbringing in my life, to the foods that I eat, to the things that I drink. From 9 years old, I was a marijuana smoker.
Me too.
So being able to clear myself up of doing those things that toxify or disconnect me from my spiritual realms. Now you have things that are here that are medicines, like marijuana. I truly believe is a medicine, but everything is to be used properly in its proper stint of doing what it can and is supposed to do for you at that particular moment in time. Mm-hmm. Now, to use it every day for the purposes when you're not sick, too much of anything is not good for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like I said,
everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Everything in moderation.
Yeah, because there's nothing that you could suffer through that hasn't been a cure made for already. So you just have to know what the cure is and know how to use it properly, use it for the time that it is needed to be used, and then move on back into the realm of being. So a lot of, like I said, one of the first steps would be cleansing and clearing yourself, mind, body, spirit, and soul. Cleansing and clearing yourself up so those connections can be regenerated, rejuvenated, revitalized, revivified, and restored, as the good sister Adama would say.
Absolutely. I think in retrospect to that question, that another thing that kind of opens up those doors is to first and foremost, taking the steps to reach out to your creator.
Exactly.
On a
regular basis,
on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
And that opens the door, I believe, to how we actually begin to tap into that inner being.
Mm-hmm. And that's the meditation.
And
prayer, whatever you want to call it.
And I was going to say, because so many people are approaching the want to truly meditate, but then you have a lot of people that when they don't reach this place that they've heard of, that they get discouraged. Yeah. And the thing is, don't get discouraged. The thing is, before you can truly levitate and meditate, you have to have an established open door with your Creator. It takes it's not a jump right in process.
Right.
And
You're not gonna go from 0 to 90.
and I believe that a lot of people that have reservations about the Creator normally end up having issues meditating, because that's a door that is open for us, in a conscious state, in order to help us relate to an unconscious state
Or a subconscious state.
or a
Because
subconscious
the
state.
subconscious realm is where life dwells.
So with that, I just say that it starts off there, opening that door, and consistently leaving that door open, not only to pray and to shed all your thoughts and love and downs and ups and problems and all the rest of that good stuff, but also actually opening that door to where you can receive the spiritual flow from your Creator throughout each day. That in itself allows you to tap into so much more inside of you, and then as well allows you to see so much more of everyone else.
Absolutely. And it don't take, sitting down for no 30 minutes, no 4 hours. I mean, you got to start at the starting point.
I sat here. I'm just gonna be straight up, brother. I planted a word in your head during this very show. We sat here and I wanted to speak about transcendence, and I kept thinking transcendence in my head until you vocalized it.
Exactly.
And I'm recognizing that energy
That
and that
communication.
power. Right.
Exactly.
I've been developing that and working on that for some time now.
Exactly.
And now it's actually one of those things that as long as you are completely open to receive that,
All messages and all signals.
they're gonna flow.
What
They're
you
gonna
say? Have an open mind.
Yeah, they're gonna
And
flow.
that's where that term comes from. It ain't to think on some obscure way out functionality. Is to be open to thought and energy, connections and communications. When you open yourself to that realm, then you are surprised, because 9 times out of 10, the questions that you have, you already have the answers to. You just have to open up that realm to receive them, because like the brother said, like you said, that was a signal that had been sent. And since that signal was sent, my realm of thought was open to the aspect of communication,
Perception.
because of the content of the conversation.
That's right. That's right.
So since the content of the conversation had already had my mind open to receiving, it was there.
That's how it happened to him.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
Yes,
a beautiful
sir.
thing.
It's a beautiful thing, man. And we have to take advantage of that on a much more supportive level of one another.
Exactly.
And these are the ways in which we change. These are the ways in which we change the narrative. We tap into our inner being. And that was another question that was asked by Melissa. Melissa Burns wanted to know, how do we gain control of our own narrative? These are the outlines. And then her last statement she made was that all of this confusion is deep brainwashing, and that's where that's who we are. That's we represent. I mean, listen to the music.
Under the illusion of inclusion.
Listen to the music that rules the day, the hip hop culture. It's mass confusion.
And degradation.
Mass confusion.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we got some, music that's about this and it takes this subject matter and we get a little bit of here, a little bit of there. But for the most part, what's known as mainstream is what makes the most amount of money when it comes to the culture, the music, the entertainment, the clothing. All this stuff is
look
mass
how,
confusion.
Look how different it is from where it started. Look at the difference in the mindset of where it is from where it started. You don't even really see any more street dancers no more.
Right.
You don't see the break dancing and whatnot. That's gone. Right. You barely even see the graffiti artists except when it's on trains or places that are being, your local gang members are tagging as their territory.
Right.
It ain't no real artistry to the graffiti no more.
Right.
I mean, there's some artistic cats out there doing it, but when it comes to being a part of a culture, it's not culturalized.
Right.
The dancers, the break dancers, the clothing. Now the clothing is so mainstream to where it's almost sexualized. It's not culturalized.
Right. Almost.
Our sisters wear so little now. Our brothers look like the clothes that they wear. They want to wear clothes like women.
Yeah, I can never understand the brothers want to put on these tight ass pants, man.
Man.
Oh my goodness.
Even back in the day when they made stovepipes, straight legs, whatever you want to call them, they still wasn't nut huggers. Right. They still wasn't, where you cough and the motherfucker can see your fart.
Right. Right.
It's just ridiculous, man, how so many things are contemptuous, right, if that's a word. But we are.
It sounds good enough.
We are in contempt of our own love and safety, our own love and structure of becoming the being of life. The being of life. Just like I had the brother when he did the shirts, had this brother do some shirts for us, and had asked him to put, they talk about Black Lives Matter, and the narrative of that thought is as we don't really fucking matter.
Right.
Because Black lives is matter. Why should it matter when it is matter? Why should I have to tell you that it matters when it is matter?
Right.
So if I'm having to tell you that, then that means it really don't mean nothing.
Right. Right.
I'm only telling you that because you'll go out and buy 20 t-shirts at $20 a pop.
Right.
And over millions of people in each community in each state in the country, I can make my millions. And then I can subject that thought to a group of people that I want to piggyback off of when it comes to a real struggle, and make my struggle as real as theirs when my struggle is a choice and their struggle is not.
Okay, we got another question here from Danette Johnson. In that case, I believe that not only do we need to meditate, but we need to go to the resource of our origination, which is homeland, Africa, all of our greatest resources. We should all try to go.
I agree with that, only in the realm of touching bases with something that galvanizes energy from its most powerful source. Now, with that being said, we have to all realize that every continent on this earth was a part of Africa at one time. That's why there's no part of any continent on this earth that black hasn't been or isn't, period. So you have to understand your energy and your power source and understand how to connect to it, or whether it be from crystal form, whether it be from meditative form, whether it be whatever form and realm of your connection, your spiritual connection is in that place. You have to be able to galvanize that, find you a structure that where, okay, for instance, like for me, I run. When I run, I've become to love it so much because it puts me in a place that where when I'm outside and I'm running, I can see the future. I can connect. I can connect with the squirrels. I can connect with the smell of the oak trees and the birch and the hickory trees and the almond trees. I can connect with all of those senses. I can connect with the harshness of the pavement pounding. I can, connect with the crumbling of the leaves in a certain part of the season, a certain part of the year. The birds chirping. I can connect with the clouds, the sun. I can connect with the wind. I connect with all of that. So it's an energy and a vibration that it gives me that absolutely galvanizes the ability to accomplish what I probably would have never tried had not been so persistent and consistent in wanting something different for myself, because that's where it started. Wanting to be in shape and not really wanting to, years ago when I first started running, it was a thing where I had sat around and got so out of shape and I wanted to do something different. There was an old treadmill where I was living. I got up on that treadmill and just started walking, knowing I wanted something different. And that transpired itself from that point to where it is now. And even at one point where I was running 6-7 miles a day, 5-6 days a week. Now, once I've learned and come to a certain conclusion of what's good and how too much of anything is not good, then now I can set parameters and say, hey, well, I can't do this 5 or 6-7 days a week because it's just too much of a pounding, or it's too much of this or too much of that. Too much of anything is not good. So I can do it 5 days a week. I take my 2 days, rest and recoup, and then that beginning of the week joint, I'm right back at it. And it's easier to transist into that. So to answer that question in some way, we have to really find out where our energy base is. Whether it is exercising, whether it is art creating, whether it is whatever, music, whatever, find your space of meditation and creativity. That's where your energy source lies. That's where your greatest connectivity of energy is, and move from there.
I think that, a lot of people when I give the response to the Africa deal, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for traveling and moving around and inhabiting new areas, especially as an African, quote unquote, as a quote unquote African American. However, excuse me. However, I've always felt and resonated with the land that I originated from. I've never believed anything other than myself being indigenous to the land that, North America, this area that we're in. So in that, whenever, and don't get me wrong, like I say, I'm all for travel, but whenever I'm inspired to, fly so many hours, to Africa because of all of the great resources and all of the great things that exist there, that doesn't move me, personally. That's never moved me. It's my thing was to better understand what's going on this land, the land that I have, that I was, created in, and that I've ran for these 45 years, because I feel a connection to it,
right?
And I feel like there's a deepening that has to manifest in order for me to get the clarity that I want from the whole, that I think would be more fulfilling in my lifetime. However, I don't feel like running to Africa is going to be, for me, just great experience to understand. Now, granted, I haven't been, so far be it for me to say, but I think I would be more elated to be able to hit every state in the country of the United States, and then as well to go up into Canada and as well dig down into Mexico and be able to familiarize and be more suitable to be able to actually live in different portions of those areas prior to or before I would imagine, or wanting to go and take advantage of any resources in Africa. We have great resources right here in North America, many untapped, but a lot of them that are very, very, very well known about that we just are not utilizing at this point.
And a lot of it is because we're not really sure or don't know what those resources are.
Right.
Now, one thing I will say, in kind of contrast, is connectivity. I think it's innate, or it's very vital and important for us to connect back to the being of Africa, so-called Africa. I think it's important for us to connect because no matter what, who, when, where, why, one thing is a fact. Resources of any kind is greater there, across the board. You're talking about food, the types of food that grows naturally for our systems to revitalize and neutralize into a realm of being is there. Things that grow there, that grow naturally there, it takes more work here to grow than they do there. A lot of the foods and systems and structures that we have here are dealt with from genetically modified basis. So there it's a give and take on both realms, and that's why, for me, it's a thing of what do we do to get these continents back together. And they don't have to be physically back together, but to connect with the spirituality and the mentality and the humanality of those continents, so that, okay, for instance, being in a relationship or knowing somebody from that continent is just as important to me than visiting that continent. Because then if it's the right being, then their resources become my resources. My resources become their resources. And there's a connectivity there. So that when it's something there that we could use here to make betterment, then there's an ability to get it here. If it's something here that they can use there to help develop and further the movement there, then they can get it here because there's a connecting point. Just like Marcus Garvey was trying to do. Okay? So from that aspect, I think we have to get back to that thought of where time began. If there's a beginning point. Just can't nobody really show me or tell me. But from the aspect of being that one, and when I say one, I'm talking about, we always talk about unity. Unity is one. United Front is one. So having that connectability to where even if we ain't on the same page, we in the same book, we can move more mountains.
So like with the whole scenario of what we can actually manifest from just the soil alone and the different things that be grown and so forth. We're in two different positions. So, and I say that to say, if we were in Africa, 9 times out of 10, we would be partaking in the experience, if nothing else, going and picking our own fruits. But here in the United States, like you just said, we are dealing with foods that we're not truly aware of the origin, because we're not taking part in that same type of a process. Whereas because we do live here, because we have established ourselves here, and we do know the principles of growing, we do know the principles of logistics, So, anything that we would need to grow, if we, if it's really one of those, if it's really like, if that's an issue, we can grow here. We can grow it and feed ourselves here. The thing is, doing what's necessary to clarify the land, and that's a whole nother process that, most people don't even, take the time to fully encompass before getting into the whole process of vegetation and so forth, But, there's ways in which we can. I just personally feel, and that's just me, man. And again, that's
it's reality, brother.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
It's reality, and I dig it all. I dig it all, and from the aspect of being, that's true indeed. But I'm just from the aspect of,
I've been being told my whole life, and don't get me wrong, and because of that, it makes me even wonder more. What's so attractive about that scenario, or is it just something that us as black people, put on our backs that we got to do? We got to go to Africa. Don't get me. I'm at the point that, in life, I'm perfectly comfortable having never make it to Africa if I don't ever make it to Africa.
mm-hmm.
Because of what I know I can achieve right here. I feel like if we can achieve it in Africa, we can achieve it here 3 times greater. Simply because we already have the technological platform and basis to relay it to everybody here, to Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, and all down the way.
And with that being fact, then with the ability to do that, wouldn't that transcend itself in a betterment when you're in a place that has the materials, the more pure, better materials naturally, when you have the mentality to put the two together and build from a structure and a basis of reaching out, would make it easier, because the power structure would be greater. Because now, instead of dealing with a derivative or a middleman or something that has to be connected on another chain link and then another chain link, which kind of dilutes the process instead of direct connection, then those questions have to be dealt with and answered as well. Now, as far as the food structure and natural order and existence, for me, it's like this. The things that grow here naturally, that we can partake of and know that it's real, we deal with that here. The things that grow naturally, just like you can go down to Florida and you can pick mangoes and lemons and oranges and limes and grapefruits off the tree all day in your backyard that you didn't even plant. They just grow. Mm-hmm. Okay? Same thing over there. But not only do they have the lemons and the oranges and whatnot, but they got the papayas, they got the jackfruits, they got the, guavas and other things of natural resources when it comes to fruit and vegetation that started in a state of origin, original being.
And don't get me wrong, bro. I'm not denying that or taking anything from that.
But what I'm saying is, I'm dealing with it from the aspect of, again, connectivity. It's not about what's right or what's wrong or why I feel this way or why I don't. Right. It's about connectivity. Right. Because now, if I connect with you in a region that has things that
I don't have in my region, supply and demand.
Why force
right.
a region
right.
to change its natural makeup and functionality into being something that it was not meant to be, because it's not where this is over here. So just create the connection.
No, I totally get it. I mean, and that makes all the sense in the world, no matter what the region may be.
Exactly. Be a part of it.
Yeah. I guess, again, man, when it comes to the African flow,
taking an 8-hour flight.
No, let's just be. I'm gonna be for real. Nothing I've ever really gotten from Africa was, the only place that I've gotten like materials from that it made sense to me to keep on buying those kind of materials was stuff that was made in the USA.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from time to time, you'll get something from Japan or China that'll last, like, oh shit, it lasted a little longer than what we expected it.
But you know what the crazy thing about that is? The materials that they're using is coming from Africa.
Okay, and I'm not going to deny that, but what I will say is
but as far
the
as
stuff that I've gotten that came directly from Africa.
Right.
No, from Africa.
Uh-huh.
None of that shit's ever lasted. It was made just as cheaply as the shit that came from China or Korea.
Right, but look at the governmental terrain. Look at the manufacturing terrain. As opposed to Asia, as opposed to Germany, Russia, America. And the connections or the connectivity to whatever transcended their technology, like we were speaking earlier. Whatever experiences that they had with whom and whatever they had those experiences with to transcend their knowledge, because they're not that. They can't be that because they're not the original. Right. So they had to have some input to put them in an aspect of being or knowledge to do what they're doing. And then be able to put us in a position where they can wipe out all of our knowledge and history, not necessarily our knowledge, but our history and connectivity to it. So we don't have an ability to build back that bridge that has been torn and burnt down. Okay? So when you speak of America, America's greatest asset now is slavery, because all of its manufacturing is in China, in South America. All of their food from Monsanto's is grown in South America. It's grown somewhere else other than America. Only thing that America's producing is wheat, soy, corn.
Intellectual property.
And intellectual property, which means that you are property.
That's right. And your creations.
And your creations. So we have to get back to a point when, like I said, when we get back on that Black Star line to where we can bridge that gap to where the right minds in Africa is connected back with the right minds of African descent and American descent and Canada and South America descent, because the original descendants are still the original descendants, because the collective of continents was once all one thing.
I dig where you're coming from. I mean, don't get me wrong, Mike. I totally get it, and I'm not taking nothing from it. I personally feel like our being of consciousness. Like I don't know, bro. I've said it on a few different cases. You've heard me say it before, bro. Like I feel like where we come from and what we, the center of who we were, it's been at this point it's been greatly changed. We all know that. But so at this point now I think we have to, like what we were at initially in the conversation, as far as the transcendence of the spirit of love.
And that's a great connection, brother.
I think that's a
great connection.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's what I think in us being foremost responsive to dedicating our energy to that, I think everything else just kind of works itself out.
It does, and I say that because, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, because what that does, again, connectivity. Because you, as an individual, never have to go to Africa as long as you know me, and I'm going back and forth. You, as an individual, don't have to ever go to Africa if you don't want to, as long as your connectability or your love for your humanity and your source of creation has a connection there. then whatever you need from there can come from there all day, every day. But the connection has to be made. You can stay in place wherever you need and want to stay in place and still receive the blessings and the love of what is needed from that spot of blessing and love. And it can always move because energy moves. You ever had an idea that you never moved on, and you look up a couple of years later, a couple of months later, and somebody else is using that idea?
Damn right.
Because you didn't, and it went from you to the next mind that was able.
Right. There you
Exactly.
go. That's the way, and that's the way thoughts, and that's the way process, and that's the way ideas work.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, when it's dropped down on you, it's probably dropped down on 5 to 10, or maybe even 1,000.
Hey.
You know,
Because
so
that 1,000 ain't but a percentage point when it comes to the collective.
it's just like that sperm. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
It's just like that sperm, bro.
1 in 500,000. I mean, how in the hell can't you say or have love for the strength in yourself when 1 out of 500,000 is you? That's a powerful tool of knowledge.
That's power, bro. That's major power.
Yeah. So we just have to get back, man, to the realization of self-possession.
Yeah. I'm with it.
Realization of self-possession.
I'm definitely with it. Miss Maria, you sitting over there in the building. You got any
Greetings,
words?
sister.
You got any words for us? Or you want to remain silent?
Teach us. Bring us up.
I just want to know. You know, I would be remiss if I walked out of this room and you didn't get to elevate or express your views on the things that we're speaking about. Because I know you have some
Real life.
I mean, I was actually listening.
Okay.
And, you know, I have the right to listen. I guess
Well, hold on.
I can say a little something about the power of listening.
Yeah, go ahead and pass that mic to Yeah, we got something we could do for people that just happen to pop in on us. Whether we know you coming or not.
Is it on?
No, I'm actually about to turn it on. You can have a seat there. And we're gonna get you live.
So, isn't there a mic in the camera?
No, go ahead. Talk to him.
Okay, there we go. So, I was just listening,
Yes, ma'am.
and you brothers were having a very deep, involved conversation, and I was taking it all in. You know, sometimes it's important to not be thinking about whatever the next thing is that you want to say or add or contribute, and just actually receive what's being transmitted, what's being expressed, what the other brothers got to say for a change. Because I talk a lot, you know, I always have something to say, but I thought that I would, you know, walk in quietly, humble myself, you know, sit over to the side. Let's listen to what the brothers are discussing and just drink from that, from the knowledge, the awareness, what you all have to offer, and see how that can contribute to my reality and my expression and my experience. And sometimes I think that's something that we all have to do. We all have something to contribute. We all have something to give to the world. God has put everybody here to make that contribution to the collective. But it's just as important to be open to receive the contribution that the next person has to the collective, to learn from each other,
Absolutely.
to get what each other, you know, has to contribute. So, you know, from the brother Mike over here, like, I appreciate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment on what I gained from you all's discussion. That's
Yes,
how we're
ma'am.
gonna wrap this
That's
up.
fair.
So from the brother Mike here, I appreciate that energy of the collective and how we can contribute to each other, and how if we are positioned and we have that connection, then we can benefit from all the fruits of the labors of those around the diaspora and the globe as a whole. So I got, I can be over here in America and people are doing things in Africa that can help me. They might have like some awesome soap over there. I happen to know of this brother. He's over in the Asante region in Ghana, and he has this company that produces bamboo bicycles, and he's using that to actually to raise money for the school system, because there's like a lot of corruption in Ghana or whatever, and the money that's supposed to be going to the schools doesn't always go to the schools. And so and I thought that's a beautiful thing. We could probably take advantage of that over here, and it's like from what I hear, a very quality product, and they're being sold abroad and what have you. And so not only is that a means of transportation locally where he is, but it's a great way to make money. He's created jobs in his region, and he's contributing to the schools. So, that's just something that I happen to know about and just was inspired by a way over here in the United States that's happening in Africa. So
that is crazy.
I can appreciate that from the collective and just gaining from that contribution.
Absolutely.
Now for Jamal here, he also had a quality comment about, and what I got from him was taking stock in where you are.
How about that?
And taking advantage of, because people are running around saying, oh, what's going on in Africa? And, there's starvation in Africa, and there's this going on in Africa. And we got stuff going on. We got people hungry right here in the ATL. And to reach out so much that we don't pay attention to and stay involved in that which is around us, and actually gain from that which we came from. Absolutely. Because we were all, I assume, born in the United States. So we're Americans. We're not African like some people identify as African American, but we were actually born in the United States. I know personally I have Cherokee roots, and that's an indigenous culture here to the United States. So, and he's got Native American ancestry as well. And most of us do, and so those are not only, so Africa don't have a monopoly on indigenous peoples. So we can definitely derive from our heritage, sink into the heritage that we came up with, and we probably all have African blood too. But take advantage of that's available here in the United States and give back. Absolutely. Take from and give back, and relish and be proud of our own heritage as Americans. Even the struggle, because we have a certain struggle at having gone through and being descendants of slaves, that those who remain in Africa don't have that experience. They have a colonization experience, which is a little bit different from our experience. So I can appreciate that point of view as well. So that's basically what I got from what I heard. I came in at the tail end of this very interesting conversation that you brothers had, but we can all ultimately learn from each other, and as an educator, that's what I'm all about.
Exactly. And for me, the beauty of that is the connectivity, because everything you said, everything that we were saying is at a point, at one point or the other, connect, because the Cherokee blood is one of the, I want to say, 5 original bloodlines universally. The Aborigine, the Cherokee, the Swahili, and it's 2 others, and I can't really think of. Think one is the Teotihuacan and the Olmec, if I'm not mistaken. I had to do more diligent research on that, but from the research that I've done, they're part of the 5 original bloodlines.
Yeah, they're all definitely well-recognized ancient cultures, right, that pretty much everybody knows.
Aztec, which is Olmec, okay, as far as the Mayans. That's really who they were, connected to the Olmecs. So my point to that is that just like the continents were connected, those bloodlines are connected, which means that no matter what we say or what we do or where we go, we still that one connection. And whether it be Cherokee, whether it be Swahili, whatever it may be, the original is still the original. And we have to come to a point of being able to connect, like Brother Jamal saying, where we at, as well as where we're from, to make that one instance whole again. Because there's energies on each continent and each areas, several different areas on each continent that are constructed. Okay, for instance, like in Tennessee and Mississippi and Georgia, they have these mounds, tribal mounds of the indigenous people of this continent.
Right.
Okay, which are definitely still indigenous people of Africa as well, because it was one continent.
Right.
So, my point is that we are all right now,
And we are all one.
and we are all one. Thank you. So let's move in that. Let's live in that. Let's create and construct from that. Therefore, what you need that I have that you can't get readily, I can make sure that you get it timely.
That's the whole point of it. Most definitely.
Exactly.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Exactly.
And that again is where love truly transcends.
Transcends
Because,
from.
and I'm gonna tell you how you see the love transcendence from that. You remove the currency.
Thank you.
Once the currency is removed and you're doing it genuinely, then love is transcendent.
What's left, bruh? What's left?
Nothing's left but love.
Because ain't nobody got nothing
Real
to
love.
gain. Right.
All right, y'all. We done went over 45 minutes, but we couldn't let that one go. So y'all make sure y'all join us next Sunday for another dose of Black Conscious Voices, hosted by yours truly, the Cyber DJ, the CK, my good brother Mike Cypher. In
You
the
know it,
building.
brother.
You're going to have that Black Conscious Voices shirt on this week.
Oh, brother, what you talking
I'm gonna
about?
go and
Probably
invest in
all
me
week.
one. I'm going to have to go and invest in me one, man.
No
But,
doubt.
yeah, that thing looking good, man. Yeah, we definitely appreciate everybody that tuned in, everybody that dropped a comment, and even all you people that were utilizing your telepathy on our phone lines today.
Yes.
Shout out to all of y'all, man. Much love from Atlanta, Georgia. Myself, my brother here, the beautiful sister here. Thank you.
They say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's the color of one's skin and the beauty of one's eye. So many of us talk about dark skin, light skin, what is and what ain't within, but we overlook it all for the booty. You see, the physical has no bearing on the elegance and grace of the spiritual and mental one that's inside you, that creates the only one of you that it takes millions to make. I'm talking black and light, not white, the substance of nothingness, a blank page of anger and rage, giving you the belief of death, not rest. Life is a cipher, a circle that never ends, passing by trends and fads of trends, only to come